Welcome back to the bar, but today we're going to be talking about a topic I think a lot of people have a misconception about. And I'm going to ask the GOAT these questions because I think that he is probably the smartest person, or at least one of the top 3 smartest people I know in real estate. So, and knows... yeah, there's definitely a couple I know that are smarter.
I got to work on that. Work together, we play together.
So join us.
Let's have a great time.
Anyhow, I meet a lot of people who come to me and they say the market's going to crash. And I always laugh. I'm like, that's comical. But they do have that misconception. And a lot of it comes from them talking to their parents, which is really funny. But a lot of it also comes from the news. So tell me your thoughts being in this market since, Jesus was born. What your thoughts are on the market, where it's going, and what you see for the future.
Okay. Well, I might have been since Jesus was born. You share your birthday with Jesus, but here's the deal. I was around the last time the market crashed, and it's totally different this time. Back then, the lenders were giving money to everybody that could fog a mirror. Mm-hmm. And so nobody had any equity in the properties. So as soon as the economy slowed down and people lost jobs, or people cut back, or people lost hours, then they didn't have the money to pay for anything.
Right.
And now
they were doing no-doc loans and
so much equity in the houses that's not the case. The first thing that would happen, they'd put the houses on their market, which we need. There would be inventory
that would have been nice.
Come onto the market, and it would actually help the economy grow right now if that happened. So if the economy slowed a little bit, there would be more inventory come on, and it would actually help the economy grow. The housing market would help. So the biggest difference is we have no inventory.
Right.
And last time that was the opposite. And there's more equity in homes now than there has ever been in the history of home ownership. Mm-hmm. And so we have more home ownership than we've ever had. Right now, we have buyers that have accepted the interest rates, and the 7% interest we have now historically is not a bad interest rate.
Absolutely not.
We are still below the average. If you take a 30-year average of interest rates, we're still below that 30-year average.
Right.
Now, we're not below the last 5-year average because people got used to that low. But, I don't think we're ever going to see 3% interest rates, probably not in our lifetime. Will we see 5, 6? Maybe. Right. But I don't think we're going to see that 3. So the buyers have accepted the rates. The sellers haven't quite accepted it if they're holding a 3% interest rate. They're staying in their house unless they have to move.
Correct.
So, that's the way it is. But there's so much equity that we just don't have a problem. We're not going to have a crash. If somebody gets in trouble, loses a job, they're going to put their house on the market because they've got money in their house. They've got equity. Or they're going to take an equity line. Banks are still loaning equity lines. And the credit requirements are so stringent, more stringent than they've ever been, that we just don't have a problem.
Right. So I find it also funny when all of a sudden the news says, oh my gosh, we're at 100% up on foreclosures from last year. So I always need people to understand what that 100% up means, because we all know what last year's foreclosure rate was. Right. So there may have been 1 foreclosure last year. So that means this year we have 2.
Like I said, percentages, I'm a numbers guy. Mm-hmm. I love numbers. Mm-hmm. But I also know you can present numbers in any way you want to make an appearance. Well, what does the news want? The news wants things to be dramatic. That's how they sell news.
And negative.
And negative. People always react to the negative more than they react to the positive.
Which is
horrible. So what happens is that's what sells the news, and that's what gets eyes on the news, and that's what gets reaction in the news is the negative. People react to it more than they do the positive. And so the positive, people feel good and get calm. The negative, people knee-jerk and take action.
Right.
And so that's what happens. And just like you said, if there were 2 foreclosures and now there's 4, that's a 100% increase.
Absolutely.
And so all of a sudden that sounds like that's 100% increase is a huge number. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a huge number.
Right.
It's nothing compared to what it was back in the, 07, 08, 09. Mm-hmm. We're nowhere near what that is going to be. So,
and I think what people don't understand is there's more people with 100% ownership of their house right now than ever in history. There's more people with 50% equity in their house than ever in history. There's never been the numbers that we have right now. So if somebody was actually in trouble, they could turn around, pick up the phone, call us, and we could sell it, and they'd have equity.
They've got enough equity to go buy, downsize. They've got enough equity to go, some of them, to buy cash at a smaller number and have enough cash to live on. Mm-hmm. It's just crazy to think that we're going to have a housing crash. We're not going to have a housing crash. We have probably 8 to 10 years of an inventory shortage based on population numbers, new construction numbers, and even with the interest rates we have, we've got an inventory shortage across the country. Now there's pockets where there's problems, where they overexpanded and had price increases that were exorbitant. There's pockets of problems, but for the most part, we have a housing shortage for the next 8 to 10 years.
We had an agent just yesterday who had somebody who was, month and a half from going to foreclosure. Didn't know it until she got the actual title pulled. And but those people are walking away with money.
Yeah, she found out. I said, go find out how much equity. I said, how much equity they have. A 6-figure number. They have a 6-figure number of equity, and they're a month and a half from going to foreclosure. I said, what's the bring current? And the bring current was approximately $20,000. I said, okay, we're not going to let them go to foreclosure. I said, we can stop the foreclosure with $20,000. They've got a 6 figures of equity. We're going to fix this. This is fixable.
Right. I mean, I had one call me, I think it was 6 months ago. What was really sad is it's her third time at the foreclosure mark, where the bank actually lets her save it, which is just disgusting to me. Not that the bank lets her save it, but that you can get 6 months behind 3 times, and the bank reamortizes it. But she is at $250,000 in equity on this house. If you need to redo it 3 times, it's time to sell.
Right.
I mean, get out, take the $250,000, start over. Right. Obviously, you've purchased a house that's above and beyond your means. Take the $250,000. Don't hit that foreclosure mark, because when you do, you're years from purchasing a house again, versus going out and saying, hey, let's do it before that foreclosure hits, save this, and be able to buy a house that you actually can fit in that budget that you have, versus being overextended.
Yep. So what this tells you is, it's always a good time to buy when the market's like this. We've got even though the prices are still going up, there's a projection that the prices are still going up. If the interest rates come down in the near future, which we have no crystal ball, but if the interest rates come down, there's going to be more buyers into the market, which is going to make it more competitive.
And higher pricing.
So, what that tells me, if you're waiting, I wouldn't do it. I'd jump into the market, get into the market now. If you have a house you've been thinking about putting it on the market, we don't have enough inventory. Put it on the market. So the market's good. We think it's good. We don't think it's going to get, it's one of those, it's a crazy market. I haven't seen it like this. Jump in. We think it's a good time.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time at the bar.